Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's Mindset Reset Monday. We're talking about owning your truth this week. I'm so excited about this conversation. We're on the O of stories. We are on the O of stories. Listen, stop pretending and start standing. That is what we're talking about this week. So this week is really going to be a gut check. I'll say like a gut check conversation, right? I'm going to say some stuff that it's like, no, she didn't say that. And I'm like, yes, I did. And I'm saying it with the most gentlest intention. I've really thought about some of the language that I'm going to choose to use, especially in today's session. Um, but I really do think to really get across what's coming up in my spirit, I think I do have to kind of toggle this line. So listen, no more shape shifting to be liked, no more dodging clarity to stay comfortable, and no more spiritualizing disconnection, bypassing or using this spiritual bypassing um to justify our disconnect. Okay, so this week is all about admitting what's actually true, and it's not even so much admitting what's true to everyone else. I mean, it's just in a sense admitting what's true for you, right? Good morning, little big brother. I love you so much. Good morning. How are you doing this morning? Right. So it's really about admitting what's true for you, right? Because we have to start with us. And I think that when we can start with us, right, I think that we're so intelligent that just sometimes accepting the awareness of what is activates the intelligence of us. And then in some way the answers start to come up. Every morning I meditate and I'm do three focused meditations. One of the focused meditations is what am I angry about, right? So every morning I wake up and I'm you know facing anything or anyone that I'm angry with. The second one is, what am I resisting? Right. So I'm asking myself, like, what are you resisting in life? And then the third one is happiness, right? Just, really centering myself around happiness. And I do those three focus meditations. One, because I don't want to lie, right? Like, it's this sense of, listen, if you angry about something, it's okay. And giving myself permission to sit in that anger. And if I'm resisting something, being okay with that and bringing that up and really asking myself now, sometimes I know exactly what I'm angry about. And sometimes I don't. Sometimes I know exactly what I'm resisting, and sometimes I don't, right? And sometimes it's hard for me to really feel just sense of happiness. So I have to kind of insist visualize it. But those are three places that I intentionally step on or set in every day because I know that life is happening, right? And I know that there's things happening. So today's conversation is all about the love of self, a love of self. And today's title is The Lie is Keeping You Safe. The lie isn't keeping you safe, it's keeping you stuck. And a lot of us are praying to God to be delivered, right? A lot of us is praying to God for a breakthrough, but we don't have the courage to just step out the lie for a second, right? And this is again why I feel like this conversation is going to be an interesting one because guess what? A lie is really just your nervous system saying, hey, it's not safe, right? So even when I'm saying lie, it's not like lying, like go get the belt, I'm gonna whoop you and you on punishment. Remember, we are sinful beings. And when I say we're sinful beings, I'm not talking about the sin of religion. I'm saying we are sensational beings, meaning we feel things. All right. And when we feel things, we tend to act like turtles and duck our head in, right? Especially when the thing we feel is prickery, right? Some people, right, that I'm very close to, I have to remind them that they're prickery. Like, hey, you kind of prickery, right? And I feel like because when I can say that to them, right, then it's like, Yeah, I can be a little prickery. What does that mean? Sometimes it can be hard to navigate around you or get close to you because the words you say or how you speak can hurt a little bit, right? And one of my good friends, I say that sometimes she can be like on what was that? Will Smith, he had a cartoon, the blowfish, right? So it's like as soon as she blow, it's like she get pickery, right? So these things kind of come out of her. But I don't think that's just her. I think that's us as human beings. And a part of this owning your truth is knowing that, right? And not lying about that. And so we really have to be courageous as we go to really expand our life, to really live this life, to understand ourselves better. I'm saying just let's step out the lie for a second. And again, when I'm saying the lie, I'm talking about the lie like when you were little, you got in trouble, right? I think that honestly, when you are adult, sometimes I ain't saying sometimes you're literally lying because it's a defensive mechanism, right? It's this I'm going to defend and protect myself because I don't feel like it's safe to bear my truth. And I'm saying it's not everybody else's responsibility to make sure that it's safe enough for you to do the thing that's going to liberate you. All right, listen, because you can't heal if you won't tell the truth. All right. And a lot of us are on this healing journey, or say we're on this healing journey. And I say, so there's healing and then there's expansion. They can both look alike, right? So maybe you don't have anything you're healing for, but you're expanding, right? You're expanding your family, you're expanding your experiences. And sometimes it could hit or trigger the same way, right? But you can't heal what you're not willing to tell the truth about. And guess what? You can't shift what you're not willing to name. And you can't stand in power while you're still pretending that you're fine and that everything's fine, right? Okay. So again, we're on Project Life Season 2. This time is personal. And even having this conversation about, okay, we're talking about owning your truth. How I'm gonna use the word raw do I want to be in this conversation? How honest, right, do I want to be with the individuals that I feel like I was called to serve, to really present this gentle awareness of, hey, a little bit of what you're doing, or that tactic that you're using is the very tactic that is keeping you stuck. And if you really want to liberate yourself, it's going to take some courage, and it's going to take some courageous acts for you to just be honest. All right, just be honest. And again, to yourself, right? And when you can be honest with yourself, I think that some things could start shifting in your life, right? In the direction that you really would like them to shift. All right. So this again is about this simple truth. Honesty is a form of self-respect. All right. And I will say this, and I think my friends will raise their hand up. My brother, he's online. I think I'm honest by default, right? It's just like this thing where it's like I'm just gonna bear my truth. And it ain't always a gentle truth. It's not always easily acceptable, but it's me practicing who I am. And if I can't practice who I am, even if my truth is wrong, right? If I can't practice that in my environment or even with myself first, then how can I expect someone else, my friends, my family, my husband, my children, right, to accept that part of me? So this learning curve is like, hey, just be honest. They gonna look at you weird. They may feel a way, but at the end of the day, right, like it's for everybody's benefit for you to just be honest. And that's not always easy, right? And I think that's why I was kind of challenging to have this conversation. Again, you don't have to lie because you're weak. You don't have to lie because you've learned it was safer than being a disappointment. Okay. Or from you don't lie because you learned it was safer than being disappointed, than being too much, than being unprotected. You really lie because it's safe, right? you're you It's safe to really hide That's the safest thing that you're telling yourself, right? You telling yourself that it's the safe thing to do, but it's really not. So I want to ask you this. What have you been afraid to admit to yourself? All right. What have you been afraid to admit to yourself? Again, this week we're talking about owning your truth. Stop pretending and start standing. Right. I know you may think this is not about you, but it could very well be about you, especially if you're stuck, especially if you've been praying and you feel like your prayers haven't been answered. Listen, let's talk about this word coward. Cowardice. Cowardice. This was the word that I struggle with because I feel like, especially in our community, we say the word coward and we get so offended, right? Like, I ain't no coward. I ain't scared. And I was in a conversation the other day with an individual and I kind of, suggested this to the individual like, hey, I think you're a coward, right? Because of some of their behaviors. But I want to define what coward is and what I meant because it wasn't what what we understand coward to be, like this you scared, no, it was a coward is really a person who lacks the courage to do or endure dangerous and unpleasant things. Let that sit right there. A coward is a person who lacks the courage, all right, to do or endure the dangerous or unpleasant things. In this case, in today's conversation, I'm talking about the unpleasant thing. All right. And a lot of times we're not living our best life and we're not living our blessed life, right? Because we lack the courage to do the things, right? To be, and I'm gonna add be, but to do the things or endure the unpleasant feelings that come with, right? This thing called life. All right. And so if we can look at being a coward like that, like, oh man, this is cowardice, right? Because I'm not being courageous enough to tell my truth. It's this cowardice because I'm not being courageous enough to do the thing, right? This is cowardice because I'm trying to bypass this emotion of sadness or anger or resistance. I'm just trying to get to happiness. Like that is a cowardice behavior, right? It's not you being a coward. It's a cowardice behavior. And I always say, when that cowardiceness is showing up, it really is an invitation for what? Courage. I say it for sadness, right? When you're feeling sad, right? There's an appetite that's saying, hey, I need connection, right? When you're angry, there's this appetite for movement. So when this cowardiceness shows up, it's really saying, hey, this is an opportunity to be courageous, right? When you want to escape, when you want to hide, when you want to lie, it's really an opportunity for you to be courageous, right? So again, cowardice is saying, I'm okay when you're actually collapsing on the inside. That's a cowardice behavior. Not you're being a coward, but again, that's a cowardice behavior because you're not being honest. You staying silent to keep the room comfortable, even when your spirit is screaming. That's a cowardice behavior. All right. Not you are a coward, but the behavior that you're displaying. Okay. Calling a cowardice behavior is calling avoidance wisdom. We don't got to talk about that. It's not time for that. Was it really time? That's cowardice when it's really fear wrapped up in scripture, right? That's a cowardice behavior. In delaying decision, you already know God confirmed in your life. That's cowardice. All right. And we want to embrace the cowardice behavior, and start inserting courage, right? And that's what today's conversation is about, because honesty is the highest form of self-respect. All right. So cowardice isn't the lack of strength, it's the lack of honesty, you guys, not with others, but with yourself. All right. It starts with you. So here's the real truth. Every time you deny what you know to be true, you're training your body to distrust you. And training your body over and over again to distrust the driver, because God put you in place of your body, right? So Training your body to distrust the driver will only create more anxiety and more dis-ease in your life. All right. So if we're being honest, what do you really want in your life? All right. Today we're gonna go deeper. We're gonna go a little deep. We're calling out the quiet cowardness, right? That hides behind fake peace. Okay. And I want to ask you, what's one moment where you knew what was true, but you stayed silent to protect your comfort or to protect somebody else's opinion? All right. All right. Honesty is how, um, honesty is really how you come to yourself, and no more being a coward. Okay. I'm saying that very gently. No more being a coward. Let's see cowardness as an invitation. All right, as an invitation, because cowardice doesn't always look like fear. Sometimes it just sounds like I'm fine, everything's okay. And it's just like a form of like not being honest. Why? Because we don't want to endure those unpleasant feelings. And I think if that's one thing about the work that I do with individuals, I think it's really helping them to navigate the unpleasant feelings in life. And that's why I really call myself an emotional strategist, because one, you're going to be okay. All right. You're going to be okay in that feeling. That feeling is not going to break you. I know that you, and here's how intelligent you are as a human being. Your mind knows that you have a storehouse of emotion, maybe two, maybe three storehouses. Your mind knows that you have been avoiding so much emotionally that it is literally causing you or scaring you or making you scared to go to the place that you know that you hid all this stuff. So it's like, ooh, I already know if I open up that can of worms, I don't know what's gonna come out. And you believe that. Here's the thing, but you're praying for deliverance. You're praying for things to change. You're praying for, yeah, breakthroughs. And you don't realize that the breakthrough is on the other side of those storehouses. We got to go in there. We got to figure those emotions out. We got to unpack those, right? And we got to reconcile and build a different relationship with these emotions. Okay, listen, you can't build a real life on a fake fine. All right. You can pray for peace while lying to yourself about what's breaking you. Pretending might keep you might keep the peace out there. Okay, it might keep the peace with other people, but guess what? It's robbing you. It's robbing you of the peace in here, inside. All right, so this isn't about confusion. This is about just coming to your truth. Okay, why am I doing this session? Because I know too many people who are spiritually polished but emotionally suppressed, right? It's like they're praying, they're talking about God, they're, expressing this relationship, God got me and all of that, but they're emotionally suppressed, not even living their own truth. And I'm like, how are you praying to a deity that's so powerful, that created you, that said you're beautifully and wonderfully made, and that there's nothing, you know, in this world that everything in this world is working for your good. And that's that, and this, but when it's time to demonstrate that, right, then you go into control mode. Listen, I know why you're going into control mode. I know that it's a nervous system thing, right? But you don't know that. All right. And that's a part of these life lessons, to get you to be aware, like, hey, your body is doing what it was designed to do. 75 to 95% of who you are and what you demonstrate on a day-to-day basis is subconscious. You literally only have about 25 to 5, let me say, yeah, 75. So you got 25 to 5 to 25% of your actions, and I'm gonna venture to say 5% of your actions are conscious. 95% of what you're doing right now, 75 to 95% of what you're doing, depending on how aware you are, it's subconscious. You're not even aware of it. And so we need to bring those things to the forefront. Okay. So again, why am I doing this session? Because too many people are bypassing spiritual, too many people are spiritually polished and emotionally suppressed. All right. We call it strength, But it's self-abandonment, you guys. It's self-abandonment wrapped up, in spiritual context. It's wrapped up in fear, right? That looks very sophisticated, all right? And I just want to help you to stop spiritualizing your silence and really start honoring your truth. Mind you, we come from a society that keeps secrets, that tells us that the truth, is not safe. Even though the Bible say truth will set you free, we come from a world and a society. It's like, don't tell your truth, don't be honest, don't be emotional. And it's just like it goes against any divine principle. And we're living that. All right. So here's your disclaimer. This isn't about oversharing, all right? It's not about dumping. This is a conversation about you to you. All right. This ain't about you calling and bearing your truth to your friend, but this is about you looking in the mirror and you being honest with you. All right. About how you feel, about what you're carrying, and about what you really want. All right. And I think that it's a lot of shame wrapped up in the fact that I thought I wanted this. I thought I wanted this relationship. I thought I wanted this job. I thought I wanted this house. I thought I wanted this. And come to find out, I really don't want it. But I've invested so much time and so much energy and so much money and so much emotion and so much this, right? And yeah, I'm not happy. But because I've invested so much in these relationships with these things, these person, places, or things, then I'm stuck here, right? I'm stuck here, and I'm just like, no, you're not stuck. Maybe we need to have a conversation, right? Maybe something needs to be unpacked. Maybe we need to understand more of the why. Why did you want the relationship? Why did you want the house? Why did you want that job? What did you think it was going to bring into your life, right? So a lot of times we're not honest with ourselves because we're not really asking the right questions. So again, this isn't about oversharing. It's not about dumping. It's about getting honest with yourself so you can stop walking in circles and finally take the right next step. Okay. All right. So good morning. It is Mindset Reset Monday. We're 20 minutes in. I want you to take a deep breath. This is no pressure, just your presence on today. All right. Feeling your feet on the floor, scanning up your legs. Okay. Just getting present in our body, bringing some compassion and some love into our bodies on this Monday as we talk about owning our truth. One of the truths that we have to own is that no matter what state we're in, this body, this body is something to be respected. It's something to love, right? It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal, and it's always working on your behalf of what you're communicating to it to do. It's always doing what you're asking it to do. And I think that we just need to learn how to ask it to do what we really want it to do and not what we think we want. All right. Not what we think we want. Good morning, Dale. Miss Gladys said, hey, good morning, Gladys. She said, prickery is the perfect word. Yes, and a lot of people are prickery. Miss Gladys said, Sheila, you are a special individual. Thank you so much. And then guess what, you guys? We have Sal, the mascot. Do y'all know Sal the mascot? Sal the mascot is in here today. All right. Sal said, good morning, Dr. Sheila. You're on point and on time with the word this morning, this Monday morning. Thank you, Sal. So Sal is my mascot. I love Sal. Sal is the shirts. You see Sal on my shirt. So Sal is gonna be in our DMs talking to us, and Sal gonna give us a word every day, hopefully. Thank you, Sal. And good morning to everyone. All right. So we're scanning up our bodies. I'm sorry, we was in a body scan. Feeling bringing some compassion and love to every organ in our body, to our heart space. All right. Filling up our shoulders, down our arms, up our neck. All right. In our face, our mouth, our eyes. Right. Just allowing us to see things a little different, changing our perspective. A big part of this whole month is about rewriting our story. And the only way we can rewrite our story is to really change our perspective, right? softening our ears. We have to be able to hear things differently. Listen, you've heard things how you've heard things, and that's how you come to understand life as it is. But we have to be okay with with learning or hearing it differently. The same situation. We it's okay, it's safe to hear it differently and to understand it differently. And that's one of the things that we need to be courageous about. All right. And a lot of us are being cowardice because we don't even want to hear a different story, right? From the fear that it possibly will change. So we get big and we over talk and we won't give space to even see it any different, right? Why? Because of the unpleasantness of what it would require from you to sit in that. And remember, honesty is one of the highest forms of self-love. All right. So even if you gave the opportunity to see it different, hear it different, right, and be different with and build a different relationship with whatever emotion you're feeling in your body, trust and know that you gonna be okay. And opening up to other perspectives don't mean it's gonna change, right? You could still fall back and say, nope, I don't want to hear that. I'm gonna sit right here. But today we're talking about being honest with yourself. All right. So who is today's session for? Today's session for you if you've been shift shaping to really stay accepted. All right. Dale said, okay, Sal. Oh, yeah. Okay, Sal. Today's session is for you if you've been shape shifted to stay accepted. If you've been avoiding clarity because comfort felt safer. Hey, Mariah. If you've been performing spiritual strength while emotionally unraveling, right? If you've been silently screaming, this is the space to get real. Again, we're talking about the love of self on today. All right. Listen, honesty is the highest form of self-respect. That's our quote today. All right. And I want you to know that. And we're talking about this cowardice behavior that's really an invitation, right? We want to retreat. This is feeling uncomfortable. I don't want to speak my truth because I'm scared you're going to do this. And we're going to see that as an invitation to take the courageous act, to say the thing that you wouldn't have said, right, before, right, for you. All right. And a lot of us, it started with us. It's starting on the inside where we won't be honest with ourselves. All right. And when we can start with us and we can practice with us, I think that we can then do that with other people. Listen, pretending feels safe, but it's actually exhausting, you guys. And most of us aren't lying to other people. We're lying to ourselves. When we're saying we're fine, when we're saying it's not that deep, when we're saying it is what it is, guess what? That is us bypassing our own emotions because we don't want to sit and feel in that. Okay. But what if honesty is the key that unlocks your next chapter? What if honesty is the thing that turns that obstacle into an opportunity? What if it is? All right. Listen, what if everything you want, peace, rest, connection, is on the other side of telling the whole truth? Not a partial truth, not a perspective truth. And again, I know, especially in our culture, like I heard a person say this. So you have like truth and then you have transparency, right? Like, I think that we have really built truth up on other people, like depending on who I'm talking to is who I'm going to be honest with, not really realizing that whoever you talking to, that you being honest or that you lying to, you witnessing it all. You're the witness of all of your behaviors. All right. And so when you shift shape, right, for other individuals, you have a witness that's watching your behavior. That's like, and then you want me to trust that you can dot dot dot. Then you want me to trust that it's okay to dot dot dot. Right? You are the witness. And when you are witnessing you lie, when you are witnessing you defend, when you are witnessing you, and this is what I'm saying, when you know that you're lying, right? When you know that you're doing that and you're witnessing that, you're actually building a barrier between you, yourself, and me, myself, and I. So you, yourself, and your other self. That's the word, right? Right. And this is the importance, especially as an adult, to start to care about you. And there's stages when we talk about emotional intelligence, right? There's stages of this achievement stage where it is very much personal, right? It very much is selfish, right? It is kind of like you throwing people under the bus. But guess what? It is kind of like I kind of gotta throw you under the bus to really save me. And the truth of the matter is, I've been throwing myself under the bus for so long, right? To save you, to save other people. And so there is this moment in your 160, right? In that turn where you are kind of throwing people under the bus, right? It feels like it. It's like you are betraying other people's expectations of you. You are like choosing you over them. And it's actually a part of your growth. It's actually you moving from dependent to independent. And you do need an environment that supports you in that, right? For a moment. And then you start to create win-win situations because you don't got to throw everybody in the bus. But there is a moment where, where there's this kind of calibrating where you have to do that. And that's why it's so hard for people to really change their life, because it is kind of like, I got to choose me and I've been choosing y'all forever. Right. And when it's time to choose us, sometimes we can be very cowardice about that. And that is so uncomfortable. I don't want to feel that feeling, not realizing that every time that cowardice behavior is coming up, it's really time for you to step in, become courageous. Again, pretending feels safe, but it's actually exhausting. And most of us aren't lying to other people, we're lying to ourselves. All right. All right. So listen, but what if honesty is the key to unlock your next chapter? What if it's what if everything you want, the peace, the rest, the connection, guess what? Is on the other side of telling the whole truth. You don't have to perform, you don't have to prove, you just have to admit what's real and move from there. And again, you just have to admit it to you. This is love of self. All right. Today we're talking about love of self. We're not talking about interactions with others. We ain't talking about sitting with those people. We're saying look at yourself. I'm saying look at yourself in the mirror. All right, listen. I had a client that once one client was deeply successful on the outside. I work with a lot of clients like this, but this one was deeply successful on the outside, right? But completely disconnected on the inside. She admitted, I don't even know what I want anymore, right? Out of frustration, out of frustration. That confession, it opened the door for restoration. Sometimes the truth isn't pretty, you guys, but it's powerful. I tell you guys my story about, I was literally dying on the inside. Like my life was literally successful on the outside. Like I had the 5 bedroom, 2,500 square foot house with the big, circle drive. I hadn't got the concrete, a patio on the back. I was having the parties right on the Christmas parties, the summer parties, right? Like, you know, and it was kind of like I had everything that I thought I wanted, right? The family, my kids was healthy, but it was like I was literally dying on the inside. I'm like, I can't sustain this. I don't know how people do this, right? It was like, and it was as if, well, Sheila, you ain't know this is what it was. Like, this is the message that I was getting from people. Like, don't leave the relationship, right? Fight for what's, and it's just like, I can't do this. And guess it started to impact my health. Like I said, I got diagnosed with daily chronic headaches, right? Like I literally one summer don't even remember my kid. That's the summer because I had to take this medicine for my headaches. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I walked away. And when I walked away, everything I ran from, the judgments of other people, the fear of failing, right? All of that. I had to go in foreclosure, get my house up. Um, Went to foreclosure, gave my car up, went to live back with my dad and my mom, my kids stayed. It was like I had become everything that I was trying not to be. And I ran right into it. But you know what? If I had the language then, I would have said, because I'm tired of being a coward. That would have, if I knew that then, that is what I would have said. I'm just tired of being a coward. I was born to be courageous, and I'm going to step and be courageous and choose my life. I will not be a coward anymore. And I mean, it really took a lot. But I guarantee you that through that season, God drops people in your life to really help you. And people was like having interventions, but I had my home girl. She was like, "Listen, you good? I'm good." She like, "Well, we good." And that's where, it wasn't that, it wasn't had anything to do with like I had to drop friends or anything like that. It was just the people that needed to be there for me was there for me, and the people that didn't. But I needed to do what I needed to do, to be honest. And when I'm working with my clients, it's about that, right? It's about really this bridge of honesty, and with the faith that God will send the people to you that will walk in that journey with you. All right. And it don't feel good. All right. And it don't feel good. I had another woman that kept saying, "I'm just tired." Okay. But when she got honest, she said, "I feel forgotten by the people around me, by the people that are supposed to love me." Right. That shift gave her permission to, guess what, to rest, to start asking for help, and to start proving her value through exhaustion. All right. So here's our mirror moment. All right. Here's our mirror moment for today. What have you been calling busy that's really burnt out? What have you been calling fine that's really grief? And what have you been calling God's will that's really fear? All right. Remember, the mind is so beautiful, but it's like, yeah, it's kind of like it's so beautifully designed, but it's also like it can work against you. You know what I mean? So this nervous system is keeping you safe, and you like, but that's not safe, right? It's keeping you comfortably uncomfortable, right? It's making you see things in a way that's keeping you there, which is why you have to override it, which is why you need a therapist, which is why you need to get help. And it may take you 3, 4, 5 therapists to speak to the person that can really help you, because therapy is like dating, right? You're not going to meet the first therapist and that therapist is going to do everything, right? But then you have people like myself and other people, like I tell you, like Brittany, other creators that have made it our life's work, right? To really build programs and systems. And for me, it's frameworks to really help you break through. So it's about then you doing the work on your own. So when you go through a therapist, you know what you're talking about, or you know what you need. You know what I mean? So they'll say, "Yep." And then Sal said, "Good morning, everyone." Okay. She said, Sal said, "Good morning, everyone. You are absolutely loved today and every day. Trust yourself and speak your truth for you, because it starts with you." Thank you, Sal. Thank you, Sal. All right. So here's our prompt for today. If you were being honest, if I were being honest, I would admit what? If I was being honest, I would admit what? I think I think that again, and I would, if I was you, I would just take a piece of paper and I wouldn't even think about it, right? I would just write. If I was being honest, I would, and just let it flow. I would admit what, right? And just let it flow. And the judgments are going to come up, like the feelings may come up. You may even start to feel overwhelmed. In that moment is a great moment to let your mind know that you okay. Breathe, because these are just words going on a page. But you, by design, have the ability to live your life and orchestrate your life. But all of that feeling, that's the stuff that you don't want to be feeling, right? That's why you haven't sit down and said, if I admit, right? If I was being honest, I would admit what? That's why you haven't been honest, because of this unpleasant feeling that comes sometimes with honesty. All right. So again, before you speak, before you defend, before you package your pain, okay, into some type of polished language, I want you to stop, and I want you to breathe, and I want you to ask, what have you been calling busy that's really burnt out? All right. That packed calendar, that nonstop hustle, that I just have a lot going on. So I really don't got the time to get a therapist. I don't know if I can afford help right now. Okay. All of that may be excuses. All right. I want you to ask, is Is this behavior, is this purpose, or is it proving? Okay. Or is it self avoidance? All right. All right. And I want you to think about this. What have you been calling fine? That's really grief. All right. The I'm good, the it's over, the I moved on. But every time you're alone, it starts to itch at you. All right. That's not resolution, that's repression. All right. We can say one thing and we're good at this and we've been taught to do this. And I'm just saying, hey, it's time to start to pull back the layer and really have this conversation with yourself. All right. So here's 5 things I need you to know. Before I let you know that, I want you to know that um, again, if I was being honest, I would admit what and know that that's not a pretty question. That's not a polished question. It's just going to require you to be present, all right? And that is where healing begins. All right. So here's your 5 truths. You don't have to perform your way into peace. Peace isn't something that we earn, it's received. Pretending doesn't produce peace, okay? It delays it. All right. So peace is something that is again, I have to say that life is consequential. All right. It's cause and effect. So even when we think about happiness, and you've heard me say this before, it's not in fulfillment, right? It's not so much that fulfillment is this thing, right? It's I'm doing these behaviors or I'm showing up in this way. And as a consequence of my honesty, as a consequence of me showing up, as a consequence of, the relationships that I've been able to build, I feel happiness. I feel fulfillment, right? Happiness and fulfillment is not something that we go purchase. Like, I'll be happy if I had that purse. That's not happiness because it's not sustainable. Okay. Happiness is the thing that comes as a consequence of our behaviors. All right. And peace is the same way. Okay. It's something given to you, it's something that's given to you as a consequence of your being. All right. Number 2, honesty is the first step into healing. All right. Honesty is the first step into healing. Not journaling, not praying, not fasting, but being honest. All right. If we can be honest first, then it will shape how we journal. It will shape our prayers. It will shape what we're fasting about because God can't heal what you keep hiding from. All right. Number 3, pretending may protect your ego, but it will poison your spirit. All right. So if safer is, I mean, if it feels safe, it feels safe to fake your strength. All right. It feels safe to do that. But over time, that starts to create that fakeness, that fake strength, that fake I have it all together. Guess what? That starts to create a disconnect because again, you witnessing it. You are witnessing, you are the witness of you. And sometimes we project onto other people, right? Some things about us that's really no, you are witnessing you. And when you do that, it creates this disconnect between you, okay, between who you are and then who you present. Okay. And that witness is seeing that, and that gap becomes spiritual suffocation, right? It's like I'm suffocating because I'm judging who I am because I know me and I know what I've lied about. I know what secrets I'm keeping. I know all of that. And then I know who I'm presenting myself to be. All right. And sometimes that don't have nothing to do with faith. That just was came up in my spirit with faith. Because sometimes we saying we faith in it and you're faking it. You're actually trying to control a situation. So you're lying and you're masking to control a situation, and that don't have nothing to do with faith. You're doing that because you believe that if you tell the truth that you won't be accepted, because you believe that if you bear your truth that um yeah, basically that you're going to be rejected in some way, shape, or form, and you don't want to feel that rejection, so you're faking it. Okay. not faith in it, because faith in it is saying, listen, this, I'm going to say this and I'm going to show up and I'm going to be uncomfortable and this is going to be uncomfortable, but I know my faith is allowing me to do the thing because I know I'm going to be okay. And so I'm going to insert faith there, even though it don't feel like I'm going to be okay, even though I got to go and, tears is rolling down my eyes and, I feel like I'm about to, I'm believing that I'm going to be okay, even though this person is responding to me in a way that I'd never imagine that they would respond to me. I'm believing that I'm gonna be okay because I'm stepping in my truth. All right. And again, today is not about doing that with anybody else. It's about doing that with you. The Bible says, come as you are. And today I want you to come as you are to you. All right. Can we do that? All right. Number 4, God can't bless the mask. He blesses the real you. Okay. So again, he doesn't anoint the version of you that is performing. He touches the raw, authentic, and honest version. Okay. Even if it's shaky, right? Even if that version of you is shaking while you're bearing your truth, we have to trust that God's going to accept us because he knows this. It's like we feel this thing, I even remember like maybe in my 20s or something, feeling like I had to get it together to have a relationship with God, right? And I hear people say that now, like, well, I need to get it together before I get in a relationship with God. I'm like, well, when else to have a relationship with God, especially the God in you? All right, that's what's going to get you together. All right, and this being honest with yourself is really about loving on you. All right, and it's not about shaming you, or even though some feelings are going to come up, it's really about you saying, what is it that I really want, and then honestly, what am I willing to do? What am I willing to do to get that? To have that, to experience that. Okay, last but not least, telling the truth is how you return to yourself. Listen, you don't find yourself through performance. You return to yourself through honest confession. Listen, I want more. I feel empty. I'm scared, or I'm ready. I'm ready. That's a big one because I think that a lot of us are hiding from life. It's just safer to live, I would say, small, and I'm saying small not in a judgmental way, but like something about you understand that you were made to be a gallon, but you're living a quart, right? But you feeling like you're ready for the gallon, right? And it's a little scary, but the truth of the matter is you're ready. It's okay. You could say, I'm ready. You know, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready for the gallon, God. You know what I mean? I don't know what the gallon gonna look like. I don't even know who carrying it, but I'm ready for it, right? I'm ready for what that has to bring. I'm ready for the experiences. I'm ready for the plethora of emotions that's gonna come with that, right? The pain, the pleasure, right? The joy, the sadness, because all of that's gonna come with it. All right. All right. And I'm ready for it. I'm ready. And some of us are ready for that relationship. Okay. It's like, I'm ready. I'm ready for that relationship. I'm ready to stand up and be fully me in this relationship. Right. And it's okay. I'm ready. So again, um, we can say, I want more. I feel empty. This is a big one. That's another one. I feel empty. I know that feeling of feeling empty on the inside. All right. I'm scared and then I'm ready. These aren't admissions of failure, you guys. They are acts of freedom. All right. They are acts of freedom. All right. So, again, where in your life have you been confessing politeness over peace? Okay. Where have you been calling yourself wise when really you've been withholding the truth out of fear? I want you to ask yourself, what truth have you been afraid to admit because you don't want to feel or to be you don't want to be seen as difficult, you don't want to be seen as needy, or you don't want to be seen as dramatic. All right. And where has cowardice disguised itself as control? All right. Okay. You're not weak for being scared. It is a mechanism of you being a human being. All right. And that's the thing I want you to know, is that the cowardness is not, it's not to be judged. It's not in the context of what we know it to be. Like, I feel like you know a coward, like, oh, he was a coward. He, did this thing, or, he didn't take the shot, or, um, oh, he was a coward, but came up there to do the speech and ran off the stage, right? We can identify those type of cowardice, right? But when it's about the inner workings of a relationship, and it's time for me to speak my truth. It's time for me to share truth that I know may hurt you. It's time for me to be vulnerable enough. That's also cowardice behavior, because it's the unpleasant feeling that you are scared of experiencing. All right. And it's just a call for you to step into your courage. Okay. And remember, we do courageous acts in the beginning because our brain don't know no different. So we do the courageous thing, and we keep doing the courageous thing over and over again. And then we build our habits, and our habits make us. So when we start doing the courageous thing by telling the truth, telling the truth, telling the truth, then eventually the nervous system will say, oh, it's safe to tell the truth. Why? Because you've trained the nervous system that it's safe to tell the truth. And then it'll automatically start to tell the truth. All right. Listen, you don't build confidence from a cracked foundation. Clarity actually begins when denial ends. And here's the real value in that. Self-honesty, it isn't weakness, you guys. It's self-alignment. All right. All right. So I have a testimony from one of the clients. The moment I admitted I was scared, I stopped self-sabotaging and I started asking for help. And I have one that I always say: the moment that I admitted that I was lost, I promise you guys, that was the moment that I got found. It was like I was trying to figure this thing out about life, and how to do life, and how to manage my income, and how to love, and I was really trying to do all of that. And I'm like, okay, how do I do it? How do I do it? And I felt like it was something in me that felt like, well, you should know, you should know, you should know. And then I had to be honest. And it was like the moment I was like, you know what? I'm lost. I don't know a thing, honey. I'm so lost. I don't know what to do next. I've literally done and extended my mind of all the possibilities. I'm like, the moment I did that, it was like, okay, that's all I need you to do. That was the moment I got found, right? And it took that. And that was the thing I didn't want to admit, that I was lost. How you lost as an educated woman, how you lost as a mother, how you lost, you know, in this thing called life. How did you get lost? You're not supposed to be lost. You're supposed to be the person that help everybody. You're supposed to be the person that know everything. And you lost? Yes, yes, I am. And that was the day I had to face my cowardice. Okay. All right. So we know that today we're talking about the love of self. So Sal said, the God in you is what's going to get you together. Ooh, a whole word. It's a whole word this morning, Sal. All right, listen, we know that the love of self is what we're talking about today. And I'm always going to bring you some essential truths about that framework. Um, so here's 10 things I want you to know about the love of self. All right. Listen, honesty is a spiritual alignment too. So telling the truth to yourself isn't weakness. It's actually a form of worship. All right. Honesty puts your soul, your mind, and your faith back in sync. All right. You can't love yourself while lying to yourself. It's hard to do that. All right. The best way to show yourself that you love yourself is to be honest with you. Now, it can even be honest with you about lying to someone else and how that felt to you. That may be your first step. All right. Not justifying why you lied to someone else. Well, I did that because, well, if they wouldn't have did that, this you having a conversation with you when the truth of the matter is I lied. And that just didn't feel good. I feel so bad that I have to lie like that, or that I did that. All right. Listen, you can't love yourself while lying to yourself. Love requires trust. All right. And truth. Love requires truth. If you're avoiding your feelings or needs, you're abandoning yourself, not honoring yourself. All right. And like I said, if you so happen to lie to somebody, the whole justifying on the inside, well, they didn't, if they would have known, like, no, you don't got to do that. You've witnessed yourself lie. You knew that there was a truth that needed to be born. You saw yourself lie about it. Reconcile it, and feel that. Number three, denial delays your destiny. So as long as you avoid what's real, guess what? You're gonna stay stuck. And today, this is about the love of self. So this is just about you being honest with you. All right. Number four, the truth will cost you comfort. The truth will cost you comfort, but it will buy you your freedom. This is that thing where I talk about opportunity cost. All right. Whenever we are bearing our truth, there is a cost to it. All right. There is an opportunity cost to this. All right. So it may cost me some emotional currency. Okay. And that emotional currency may be some uncomfortability or some dis-ease, but that is an investment right into my freedom. All right. So, yes, honesty is disruptive. All right. But it can lead to clarity, to healing, and to peace. All right. Comfort keeps you stuck, but truth moves you forward. And I have to tell people, like, sometimes even in conflict, that's a part of truth. That conflict that you're feeling is not that disruption that conflict has is not because this person is a red flag or nothing like that. That conflict is what provides the clarity, the healing, and the peace. And so for us to be like, I don't want to be around no conflict. I just don't got time for that right now. Just like, well, you ain't gonna grow in here or grow or live because even you ain't gonna agree with everything that you do. All right. Number five, real strength begins when pretending ends. All right. So pretending is exhausting. So true power really starts when you drop the mask and really start what's real, even if your voice is shaky. All right. Remember, practice makes better. So the more we learn how to tell ourselves the truth, then the more we stand in that truth. And then the more we stand in the truth with ourselves, then the more we can share that truth with other people. Right. And then the more we tell our truth to other people, then the more we can stand in that truth. Right. This is not something that happens overnight. All right. It is practice, small steps, makes big strides. All right. All right. Number six, uh you can't heal the version of you keep pretending to be. All right. Listen, uh God, let me say this. It said God can't heal the version of you keep pretending to be. Listen, He can't bless the image, right? God blesses the authentic you. So if you're hiding, you're actually blocking your healing. And again, I know that your mind has you thinking, like, I can lie about this. And it's such a sophisticated mind. That's the beauty of it, right? It's so sophisticated because the rational lie that it's telling you is actually like you feel like it's the truth, right? It's like you actually have convinced yourself that I can lie about this over here, I can do this thing, and then God's going. And I'm saying God reigns on the just and unjust. But the thing is, the biggest thing is not about is God blessing you or not. It's about you witnessing it all. All right. It's about you being a witness of your behavior. And the first relationship that is important to have as an adult is a relationship with you. Because when you can have a relationship with you and you can trust you and you can forgive you and you can love you, right? And you can give yourself that, then that relationship will carry you and carry so many other relationships. But if you don't have a relationship with you, but you're in hopes to have a relationship with someone else, and you want this other person to trust you, to love you, to have compassion for you, and things like that, then it's going to be inconsistent. It's not going to be sustainable. All right. Because the relationship that you have with you is going to be mirrored, or the relationships that you have with you is going to be mirrored in the relationships that you have with other people. All right. So if you wonder why people lying to you, if you wonder why people ain't showing up for you, if you wonder why people are abandoning you, it might be time for you to look in the mirror, because you lying to you, because you abandoning you, because you not willing to see some things about you. All right. All right, number seven, hiding is heavy, truth is light. All right. Carrying a false identity is spiritually and emotionally draining. So telling the truth lightens the load, right? Over time. Because remember, we lie for a reason, right? It's safe. That's what our mind is telling us. It's safe to lie. All right. But the more you lie, the more you witness it, right? The more you try to cover it up, right? And the heavier that gets. And it's getting heavy. It's getting heavy and heavy and heavier. And it's like, I got to tell the truth. And when you go to tell the truth, it seems like a big lift because it is. And then the light, it gets lighter, right? After you lift that. And that's the courageous thing, to lift it, all right? To lift that lie, right? And that's the emotional lift. And you do that enough and you start to build this muscle, all right? This strength that moves courage to confidence, all right? Confidence in who? You. This confidence in you. And when you can be confident in you, it actually changes the relationship that you have with God, right? Because God 100% all the time, right? I say God is 100% all the time. And God is accepting you however you are. It ain't God, it's you. You ain't accepting you. You ain't seeing you. But you have a you that's witnessing everything that you do. In that witness, you want to become a friend with it. And so just being honest about some things and moving from cowardice to courageous is your job. Okay. Number 8, admitting what you want is an act of worship. So desire is not disobedience, you guys. Honoring your longings without shame is how you honor the God that who gave you that. And I know that, there's a conversation about aligning your desires with God desires, right? But how do I even know how to align my desires with God desires when I ain't even being honest about my desires? I'm bypassing and jumping over my desires because somebody then told me that my desires is bad and evil and not good enough or whatever. So I'm bypassing my desires. So I don't even know me to even know, if it even aligns. Listen, desire is not disobedience, okay? So knowing what you desire is a part of this life. And then, okay, what do I want to do with those desires? All right, is these my desires? Is this a desire that somebody gave to me? So again, it's about doing inventory. Number 9, self-respect starts with self-awareness. So you can't set boundaries, you can't speak up or really grow unless you're honest about what you really have going on the inside. I used to hear this thing like the longest journey in your life is like from your left ear to your right. It's going through, yeah, through your left ear and through your right? And it's like, you know, but it really is because you got to really do have this relationship with you. And it's so much to you that even every day, probably for the rest of your life, you could be finding stuff out about you. Oh, I didn't know I can do that. I didn't even know that that could happen. I didn't even know that this could be an experience. You know, um, I was telling my my communications coordinator, like my hair, right? So now you see my hair is, my hair is probably down to my shoulders, when I pull it down in a ponytail. I never knew that that could be my hair. Like, so when I'm taking my ponytail out and I see my hair, like it was a desire of mine, but I never knew that that would be something I would experience in my life. Something as simple as my hair. Okay. But I did the thing by, hey, I'm going to get these dreads, I'm going to wear them. And I did the dread thing so different because I don't have dreads, I have sister locks. But, everybody wore sister locks and they went through this whole stage. But that wasn't my truth. My truth was I'm going to get these sister locks and I'm going to wear them as a protective style. And I got so much in a sense like, why you don't wear your locks? Why? Because my journey is different. I want them as protective styles because I love my wigs. And then once it gets a certain, length, then I'll wear them, and I took a whole different course than a lot of people took. And that wasn't easy in itself because people who knew I had sister locks was like, well, you ain't doing the journey right. And it's just like, it's my journey to have. right? It's my journey to have. All right. So number 10. So again, self-respect starts with self-awareness. You can't set boundaries, speak up, or grow unless you're honest. And then unless you're honest about what's going on the inside of you. And then number 10, you are safe enough to be honest. All right. You are safe enough to be honest. Listen, you have survived. You have survived. You here right now, you have survived. You have grown. All right. And you are not in the same place that you were. So it's safe now to tell the truth and let's set you free. All right. Let's set you free. So let's go into our biblical wisdom. I'm kind of 4 minutes over my time. So I'm going to try to make this a little, I'm going to try to get through this a little fast. So again, we have two Bible verses, Psalms 51:6 and John 8:32. And it's just not about inspiration, you guys. It's just some emotional blueprint for our emotional, spiritual, and neurological freedom. All right. So in this session, we were asking, what have I been afraid to admit to myself? Right. And let's see these scriptures and see how they fit with that. All right. So Psalms 51:6 says, you desire truth in the inward parts. All right. Listen, God is not asking for perfection. He's checking for, or he's not checking for polished prayers or your smiles at church or even your performance. He's asking, can I have the part of you that you have been hiding? So again, your desired truth is the inward truth. All right. I mean, your desired truth is the inward part. So God is asking, can I have the parts of you that you've been hiding? The parts that's tired but won't admit it, the parts that wants more but feels selfish for saying so. It's so many people that I work with that wants more for their life, but because they've outgrown their previous circumstances, they feel guilty about expanding. It's like, well, I'm doing better than the people around me. And it's like, yeah, but it's so many other people that's doing better than you. How about that? Right? In a sense. Right? So, and even more, if your hunger is saying, hey, I'm hungry, and your appetite is bigger than the people around you, then is it more advantageous or more healthy or more aligned for you to feed your own self what you need to eat, or is it healthy for you to feed yourself what other people eat? What's coming up in my spirit, how I want to ask that is, so you have carnivores, right? So you have animals that eat animals. If those animals who ate animals only tried to eat plants, they would stay hungry. They're out of alignment. All right. And so God created all of us different. All right. And he yet put different needs in us. And so sometimes we can feel selfish for wanting more. All right. And sometimes people make you feel selfish because maybe your wanting more is outside of their capacity to give. All right. And again, this is where life starts to get a little complicated. All right. So again, God is asking, can I have the parts of you that you've been hiding, the parts that are tired that you won't admit, the parts that wants more but feels selfish for saying so, and the parts that is pretending that it's all God's will when it's really what? Fear that's guiding you. All right. So this verse isn't about spirit. This verse is about spiritual alignment through emotional honesty. God doesn't heal the mass, guys. He heals the middle. He heals you in the middle of the mess. All right. And he only can heal you in the middle of the mess if you allow him. And we allow him through our honesty with self. Now, how does that connect with our neuroscience, or what's the neuroscience connection? Guess what? Honesty actually regulates the brain. All right. So when we speak honest truth, especially hard truth, here's what happens in the body. So your stress signal in the amygdala, which is the fear center, it decreases. So honesty actually decreases stress. All right. And then your prefrontal cortex lights up. That's your logic part of your brain, right? So that's your logic and clarity hub, right? And then your body shifts from hypervigilance to regulation. All right. All right. And your self awareness deepens, and then you your emotional resilience increases. So exactly what you think is the opposite of what's going to happen. So you think like, if I tell the truth, like I'm gonna get all this anxiety. No, actually, the amygdala decreases, so your fear center decreases. Logic and clarity, right? It lights up. All right, your body shifts into from hypervigilance to regulation, right? And self awareness deepens. All right, which increases your emotional resilience. So telling the truth actually calms your system and clears your mind. And science backs what the psalmist is saying. Honesty doesn't hurt you, it actually heals you. Isn't that amazing? That that God is saying to you, the truth will set you free. And by design, when you tell the truth, it actually calms your system and clears your mind. And if you've ever experienced telling your truth, you know that there's a moment where you just like, but that's my truth. That is my truth. And it is something about like a clarity that comes with that. And it's not like an unapologetic type of thing. It's just like a calmness, like, okay, so what do we do now? What next? Okay. All right. Um, our promise verse, John 8:32. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will what? Set you free. Some say make you free. All right. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Listen, this verse isn't just about salvation, you guys. It is a verse about release. All right. The Messiah didn't say the truth will make the Messiah didn't just say the truth will make you feel better. Okay. He said it will set you free. All right. Meaning the chains you feel around your mind, your body, and your identity. All right. They often are wrapped up in hidden truths you refuse to face. This is not about being honest with the world, you guys. Again, I got to go back to this is not about you being honest with the world. This is about you being honest with yourself, because you don't get to freedom by accumulating knowledge. You get to freedom by admitting what's real. Remember, I said it like as soon as I told God, listen, I'm lost. And it still happens to today, right? It's times I just be like, I just don't know, right? I just don't know what to do, right? It's like I only can hold on to so many thoughts, and then it's like I gotta just let it go. My truth is, listen, I'm lost again. I didn't got myself tangled up in this web of this thing called life, and I'm tired of trying to figure it out. Can you help me? I need your help, God, right? And in that moment, I do feel like clarity comes and the answer comes. All right, because you don't get to freedom by accumulating knowledge. You get the freedom by admitting what's real. All right, and so neuroscience, the neurological connection to this is honesty rewires the brain for clarity and freedom. So science shows that naming your emotion reduces internal anxiety, you guys. So naming the emotion you're feeling, confusion, sadness, um yeah, dis-ease, whatever that dis-ease is, or whatever the joy is, because a lot of us is repressing our good feelings too, because we don't know how to feel them. All right, so naming the emotion reduces internal anxiety. Speaking truth to yourself increases activity in the reward center of your brain, and then telling the truth build boosts trust in yourself and decreases the fear loop or fear-based loop of overthinking and self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is truly just you not trusting yourself. And the more you tell the truth, the less you're going to self-sabotage, because the more you're going to trust you. All right. So it literally regulates. So telling the truth literally regulates your nervous system, brings down your cortisol levels, and releases tension in the body. So when Yahshua Messiah says the truth sets you free, he is speaking not just about your spirit, you guys, but in your system. Okay. But in your actual system. That's why I feel like this. God is just phenomenal, right? Like these scriptures and how they tie to how we're wired as human beings, I think is just a phenomenal thing. So here's your anchoring question. What truth have you been avoiding, and what freedom would it honestly create? Okay. Um, so I want to ask you, what truth have you stuffed so deep that that it shows up in fatigue? What have you spiritualized that's actually just fear? And what has happened? All right, what would happen if you said I want more? What would happen if you admitted that you felt alone? And what would happen if you admitted that you were tired of hiding? Listen, the truth won't break you, it will set you free. All right. So Psalms 51:6, your desire truth in the inward part. You desire truth in your inward parts. This is just emotional honesty. Knowing that emotional honesty reduces stress and improves brain clarity and regulation. All right. And then John 8:32. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Listen, speaking your truth actually activates the brain center tied to emotional freedom and trust. All right. So this isn't just about theology, you guys. This is about transformation in your mind, your body, and your spirit. So how do we put that into action? I want you to write down one truth that you've been avoiding. I want you to say it out loud to yourself without shame, just clarity. And then I want you to ask yourself, what is my next aligned action for from this truth? All right. Your journal prompt, if I were being honest, I would admit what? Blank, 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 fill in the blank. Your affirmation for today, honesty is how I honor my soul. Your intention today, I tell myself the truth because I deserve to live in alignment. And then your bonus challenge, replace every I'm fine this week with one honest sentence. All right. All right. Listen, if this lesson helped you to reclaim your truth, imagine how powerful it would be to live that truth out every day. We do have some open seats in the lab, in the coaching lab. So if you want to be a part of the Project Life, go into that growth membership at SheilaLittle.com/life. And here's my call, my challenge, and my charge. What truth are you finally ready to say? And then your challenge, speak it out loud today. And then your charge, go live like honesty is your new alignment. All right. A closing reminder for you today, pretending protects nothing. All right. Pretending protects nothing. Truth sets everything into motion, and your next chapter is waiting for the real you. All right. All right. Tomorrow's session, we're going to be talking about start where it hurts. All right. We're talking about emotional honesty in relationships. Ooh, how to stop self abandoning yourself just to stay connected. All right. That's going to be an interesting conversation. As we're talking about owning your truth, you guys, stop pretending and start standing. Listen, you don't need another affirmation. You need to admit what's real. And guess what? In this time, the truth will not break you, it will only set you free. You already know. I want you to remember this. If you can shape it in your mind, you can have it in your life. Know that I love you. I love you. I love you. And I will see you tomorrow for that life lesson. Till later.